Hello everyone in Oneness. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am Jessica Delmar, and in this video we're going to continue on with these guiding steps to achieving 5D enlightenment, otherwise known as entering the vortex of oneness. In the last two videos, we spoke about the first 3 steps. The second video that we did was a little bit more had a little bit more clarity than the first video. So second video coming out a little bit more clear, more streamlined. These steps are a little bit more streamlined because it came out in writing. So I'm just going to go ahead and read through the rest of the steps that came through in writing. But just to recap, be sure to watch the last video. Again, I'll put the link below. But again, this is guiding steps to achieving 5D enlightenment. So this is coming out right now, these 7 steps, because we're ready for it. We're in this transitional period, and this is just kind of helping us streamline a little bit, helping us focus on our path to getting into 5D fully, not only vibrationally and energetically, but now start manifesting really our 5D experience. So step 1 was all about the conscious recognition in your now moment. And this is all about stopping the momentum if you are in a 3D duality space, getting or opening up space, opening up non-attachment to the physical of what's going on in the physical. But this is all about that recognition and awareness and really being present in your now moment so that you can catch yourself, so that in step 2, you can move into that neutrality zone. And this neutrality zone of step 2 is really more of a heightened perspective. It's a bird's eye view perspective of viewing your physical experience. And so this is especially helpful and useful if you are in a lower vibrational space and you catch yourself. So you stop the momentum and then you enter into the neutrality zone by opening up space and non-attachment to the situations or emotions that's manifested in the physical. Or the neutrality zone can also be this sacred open space for you to step into to connect more deeply to your divine inner being. Neutrality zone is an open space for you to be an open vessel with heightened perspective and allow for that more expanded consciousness to open and move through you. So step 2 is all about finding understanding through that greater perspective bird's eye view. But step 3 now is about being in the neutrality zone, and through more clarity, you're able to direct energy and make intentions from your space of clarity. This is also about feeling your way into alignment and flow, and feeling and really milking what it feels like to be in alignment and flow and balance and everything working out for you. And that feeling is where you want to milk and also make your intentions from, because then you're able to direct the energy very powerfully into where you want it to go in the physical, versus being in the physical and being caught up in those emotions and duality. And that offers sort of a cloudy layer that doesn't necessarily align you to what you want or what you do desire. So stepping into the neutrality zone in step 3, through clarity, you're able to then direct your energy and really milk your feeling of what alignment and flow and that resting balanced state really means for you. And again, these steps are really about strengthening muscles. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight. You're going to get hit in the face. There's going to be obstacles and hurdles that come in front of you in your experience in order to really help you strengthen and stretch your muscles. Because this is also, really very much about finding balance. It's about finding what balance means for you, and always allowing yourself to find your way back to balance. Find your way back to balance when you're pushed off the horse. It's like you're able, as you strengthen what balance feels like for you, then when you're not in balance, it's going to become easier and easier and easier for you to find your way back. So step 3 again was now that's the place that you make your intentions from, in that neutrality zone, right? But now we're opening up into step 4. Step 4 is now, we were in that neutrality zone, but now because we do exist in a physical space, physical reality, we move from that neutrality zone of making intentions from that space of clarity and alignment, but now we're moving back into the physical because this is a physical experience. But step 4 is now about opening up ease, flow, and trust in the physical space. So you're pulling energy from that neutrality zone into your physical space. You're not necessarily leaving that space of the neutrality zone, coming back into the physical experience, and then wobbling and bouncing around in 3D emotion and duality. You're holding on to that ease and flow and alignment as you come back into your physical space. What came through is, after making your intentions, step 4 is all about opening up ease and flow in your now moment in order to pour forth the energetic shifts that you made in the non-physical heightened perspective into your now moment. Meaning that even if the pebble is thrown into your cog machine, you ease and flow with the hurdles that are thrown your way. So in the first 3 steps, we spoke about how it's like being in the neutrality zone and understanding what alignment and balance feels like. It's like a well-oiled cog machine that's perfectly running smoothly. But sometimes there is going to be a pebble that may be thrown in your perfectly aligned cog machine that may throw you off a little. And that often happens when you're in a physical experience because you're still in a duality-based reality. So step 4 is really about opening ease and flow, even if hurdles are thrown into your experience. Step 4 is about moving with the flow of how energy moves through you and allowing for the unfolding of your experience into where you trust your inner connection with your divine guidance is moving you towards. Meaning that you don't have to worry so much about where you're going or how you're going to get there. In your now moment, you trust in your greater connection to your divine inner guidance. Because in that neutrality zone, when you feel in alignment, that is really when you're co-creating together with your divine inner guidance. You're making your intentions, your desires, your wants, etc. right in that neutrality zone. That's your co-creation process. Then, when you step back into your physical experience, you trust that the unfolding and the manifestation of those intentions that you made in co-creation with your divine inner being is going to happen. It's going to unfold. It's going to manifest for you in perfect timing and in perfect alignment. And the best way to understand that you're moving in the right direction is knowing that feeling good and feeling ease and flow is always moving in the right direction. Meaning that if you feel like you're being forced to do something that you don't want to do, then don't do it. If you feel resistance in any way, take a nap. If you feel inspired to move and things are happening, move with inspired action. If things work out and it feels good, move with it. If things do not work out and you're wondering why it didn't work out because you thought it felt good, don't allow that hurdle to bring in resistance or muddy the water. Allow ease flow through everything, whether it works out for you or whether it doesn't. So this is really a training period of understanding what it feels like to allow ease and flow, even when the hurdles present themselves, even when those pebbles come into your well-oiled cog machine, because there's always a greater purpose for everything, meaning that there's always energy working. And if it felt good to go in a direction, but then that direction didn't end up working out for you, then maybe the direction that you were going in did not align to your energy. And so another doorway is waiting for you to open it. If things don't work out, it's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself, because being hard on yourself and setting expectations that are not met only results in resistance. It only results in that cork being pulled under the water. And that ultimately spins you further away from your alignment to the path that the divine inner being is taking you on, meaning that there's going to be some surprises along the way. Alignment will not necessarily mean that every intention that you make is going to manifest perfectly as you thought it was going to manifest. Because you're in a space of co-creating with your divine inner being, sometimes your intentions will not necessarily align in your physical in the way that you thought it was going to manifest. So this is really easing and flowing through your experience, even through the hurdles and through things that may not work out for you, is really about understanding that every unfolding is for a greater divine purpose. Whether it's good or bad, there's always opportunity for expansion, and that you are always being guided by your divine inner being who sees that greater picture, who is always in that bird's eye view, and who can always see 10, 20, 30, 100 steps in front of you that you may not necessarily see or feel here on the ground level. So step 4 is really about trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly and in perfect timing. This is also the step that stretches your ability to hold the balanced state of step 3, but in a physical space as you're going about your day. So you're pulling in that neutrality zone very much into your physical space so that maybe at first you do need to take those steps out. You need to create that non-attachment to step into the neutrality zone. But the more and more that you start pulling it into your physical space and it just becoming your balanced center state, your resting balanced state, then it's going to start seeping into your physical experience more and more. It's easy to return to your now moment, the present physical moment, on the duality scale and get swept up into the emotions and the duality and the dense energy. And that's going to open up resistance for you. And remember, you made your intentions in alignment with that divine inner being in that neutrality zone. And so when you enter back into the physical space, the only thing that's going to open up those intentions for you really in the best and easiest way possible is for you to ease and flow and keep the doors open rather than fall back into all of that resistance and the duality and the very heavy, dense vibration of 3D. Ease and flow also allows you to hold the state of non-attachment more and more. So this goes back into step 1 in recognizing the things that are manifesting for you and you taking a step back into non-attachment. But now step 4 is you're bringing non-attachment into your natural resting balanced state so that you're always present in your now moment and that you won't fall as much back into the downward spiral of moving into those lower vibrations and getting caught up with duality and emotion and things that don't serve you as much. But even if you do, that state of non-attachment will automatically sweep you back into that neutrality zone. It'll automatically sweep you into that greater perspective and seeing with the bird's eye view of step 3. This takes me now to step 5. And step 5 is now taking it a step further because step 4 is really all about easing and flowing and allowing for those manifestations to open up for you in your physical experience. And that's great. That's law of attraction. We all know that that manifests our desires and intentions. But now really these steps are about activating the vortex of oneness. And so step 5, and to be honest, the first 4 steps very much align to law of attraction. It aligns to understanding that you create your reality, right? In a way. It's a little bit different, but also kind of the same. But point being, it's because that is a necessary step in taking it to the next sort of step up in terms of integrating this vortex of oneness, which is opening more and more into 5D. So step 5 now, when you understand how to create your reality, you're easing and flowing, you understand what your balanced state is, your resting balanced state, and you're working on allowing yourself to float up, the cork floating on the surface more and more and more. Step 5 now is about opening up the heart and opening unconditional love, because unconditional love filtering into your physical experience is key, and it opens up many, many doors. After strengthening your ability to stay in ease and flow most of the time, allowing that cork to bob back up to the surface, step 5 is about opening up the heart and bringing forth unconditional love. Unconditional love is the doorway to opening up your connection to all aspects of you. Once you reach the point of opening unconditional love in your physical experience, you open another layer of self-mastery. There are many layers and levels of self-masteries in your physical and non-physical experience, and unconditional love is really is a powerful layer of self-mastery. Opening up unconditional love simply means that you have dug deep enough into the layers of your inner onion to rid yourself, or rather transmute the energy of the physical 3D things that do not serve you in higher layers of consciousness and expansion. Meaning steps 1 through 4 opens up these sort of training hurdles in order to help strengthen your muscles or open you up to peeling back layers and layers of your inner onion. Again, we were talking about in the last video, the pebble being thrown in a well-oiled cog machine and how the pebble has a purpose, and the purpose is to open opportunities for expansion for you. We spoke about strengthening the muscle and how your ability to find what center balance is for you requires you sometimes to toggle back and forth and experience what you don't want. For you to understand what north is to you and on a compass, to experience what that resting balance state is for you, you have to know what it is not for you. The only way to peel those layers of the onion back and open is to move through those experiences and come out the other side in understanding and compassion. You have to use the muscle to strengthen it. And by moving through the training hurdles and consistently choosing love over fear, you are strengthening your muscles of staying in grace and love and higher perspective and higher consciousness more and more and longer. This is about moving through the pebbles that are thrown in your cog machine. Eventually, you'll get to a tipping point where you stay in the higher states of perspective, consciousness, love, and grace long enough to open unconditional love. It's not to say that the training hurdles will still not present themselves to you for opportunities of expansion, but it's not going to be as frequent, or more so, the fall won't be as hard when those pebbles are thrown into those well-oiled cog machines. Because when that cork is held below the surface, or when the pebble, is thrown into those machines, you're going to be able to bounce yourself back a lot faster and easier. Opening unconditional love means opening your heart to knowing that everything is a manifestation of God or Source, both what we would see as bad and good, and that there is a greater unfolding of not only your own life, but the lives of others and the planet and the galaxy and the universe. But more importantly, the direct reality that you take part in, including all of the players, places, and things going on in the world, is all part of a much bigger plan. And that the only way to allow for the bigger plan to open is to allow for the unfolding of the bigger plan in ease and flow. So at this point, I had a thought of, a lot of the change going on the planet, especially in response to allowing that bigger plan for the planet and the universe to unfold, is to just ease and flow, basically. And I had a thought of how people, there's a lot of people on the two ends of the polarity stick really fighting for change to happen, or fighting in the opposite direction. But I was kind of wondering how that played in, and what role does that have in the greater role of the unfolding. And what came through is that resistance is not change in the way that you desire change to be, but change in the way that you desire things to be is the result of ease and flow intentions. The change that you see unfolding on your planet is the result of a buildup of resistance in your collective energy. The buildup of your energy is the catalyst for change because it sparks strong polar opposition. The way that your journey of ascension has played out is to rid the buildup of energy in your collective because it is the easiest and fastest way to open change. The momentum of collective energy is one of polarity currently, so the easiest way out is through. To go backwards into love and acceptance is like undoing a painting that has already been painted. There's just too much history of fear and separation and duality in your collective energy, and that's the momentum of energy that's playing out right now. It's like trying to stop a speeding car or a train going at 80 miles per hour. It's a boiling pot ready to burst. There's not a way to calm the energy or to stop that train or car, but to just let it play out, basically, or to just allow that energy to release. The volcano must erupt. The energy cannot be stifled or shoved back in. That is what is going on with your collective energy. But in the bigger picture, with that bird's eye view, the eruption of energy simply means that in the collective consciousness, there is space being made. There is finally space being made for love and acceptance to flow in from those in your collective, meaning the light workers and light holders and such, to then flood their energy into the collective consciousness once space is made, or once more space is made. The reason why the light holders and light workers have been holding and guiding light has been for this very moment. It has been a long journey, and many of you light workers and light holders have felt that your holding and spreading of light has not gotten anywhere with the current collective. But this is only because you are not holding space for the current collective consciousness, but for the incoming collective consciousness that is taking shape. You can think of the collective consciousness as a pot of water. The current collective consciousness was full of energy or water that no longer served, but it was a full pot and now it's boiling. There was no room for the energy of the light workers to add into the boiling pot. But as the energy empties and boils over, there makes room for the light workers to add more of the lighter energy into the pot. Eventually, the boiling pot of old water will be replaced with the new water that is lighter. A lot of people activating change right now comes from points of duality or polarity on both sides. This is not a place of judgment, but polarity will only open more polarity. There is no right or no wrong side, only energy that will be created. Watching the water boil opens space for new water to pour forth. Do not get caught up in the boiling water, but focus on the new stream of water pouring forth. The change activated from your collective sides of polarity opens a greater purpose. Those involved are leaders of their own kind, even if on the polarity scale, and are helping to bring forth the boil and spillover of water. This will create more boil and more spillover until all of the water from the past collective energy is boiled and spilled over, making way for the light workers and light holders to pour forth fully the new water. Change is coming, and it is a divine partnership between past and future, what was and what will be, duality and separation, and oneness and togetherness. All of the gears in the machine are working together, even if it may not seem like it. There is a divine balance taking place. As darkness leaves, light opens, strengthening the balance point. The new water opening will open change in desirable ways through ascended consciousness. The new water transforms the pot from a 3D pot into a 5D pot, but it's the same pot, just a different vibrational frequency, but which will ultimately alchemize the pot into a new pot. But beneath the new pot is still the old pot and all the change that it went through, very much like what is going on with the human form. So step 5 is really about opening understanding of the bigger picture of the unfolding of everything in your experience and reality, ranging from your direct experience and reality to the wider picture of your collective's experience and reality, and even wider pictures of your planetary Gaia's experience and the galactic experience and the universal experience. But in order to understand, you must open unconditional love and meet the unfolding with acceptance and knowing that all is truly well. And this is really what step 5 is about, is pairing that understanding of what's going on in the unfolding with unconditional love, not only for yourself, but for others in this experience as well. When you hold the vibration of unconditional love, then you not only open the doors to understanding this physical reality, but you open the doors to understanding existence both in and out of a physical reality. This opens the doors for you to access other aspects of you in alignment with your higher vibration. Other aspects of you can be opened whenever and wherever, but it's always based upon your vibration. So you can access other aspects of you even in lower vibrations, but it's going to always be interpreted by you through your lens of being in lower vibrations, or whatever vibration you're in. So in the scale of duality, the lens of interpreting your other aspects or your spirit guidance teams are, in a way, clouded by the lens of duality. Only when you step into the energy of balance can your interpretation of your non-physical aspects be made more clear. Again, stepping into that vortex, again, stepping into that neutrality zone where where you have that non-attachment, and it opens up more clarity for you. That is where you're an open vessel to receive that greater information, guidance, consciousness, perspective. Because for as long as your mind exists in duality, you will interpret the downloads, the messages, the signs, etc., through the lens of duality vibration. Unconditional love opens up more clarity. It opens up knowing. It opens up sensing other things that go beyond your physical reality. And this is what connects you to your non-physical in very powerful ways. So step 5 is all about becoming familiar with how energy shows up for you when you are able to hold a space of unconditional love for all. So that was step 4 and step 5. I'm going to leave this video just going over those 2 steps. In the next video, we'll go over step 6 and step 7 since there's a lot of information, and I think this is what needed to come through in this video and have you integrate it and absorb it. So thank you everyone for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to round out the last 2 steps, and you're not going to want to miss it because this is really when it starts to get good, and the steps in which we enter into the vortex of oneness, and really what it means to enter into this vortex of oneness, and how you co-create with other aspects of you and co-create with your divine inner being. Together with you in oneness, I am Jessica Delmar. Oneness and love be with you.